Welcome to season 3, another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of incredible entrepreneurs like my new best friend. Look, man, I mean, it's just, I'm so relaxed right now because you got all these candles, these aromatherapy. Nicholas Cappele from H2E.
H2E.
Tell us about your company, man, because I am so relaxed right now. I'm running out of words right now because I'm so relaxed.
This started out probably 4 or 5 years ago. I'm an interior designer by trade.
Right.
And I was called in to do a project using feng shui and biophilia for a divorce attorney. And biophilia meaning the use of nature.
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing I had to do was assess each department and figure out how I could shift that energy from the old office to the new.
All right, let me interrupt. When you're talking about shifting energy from one place to another, are you talking about repositioning some of the same furniture, changing the colors? What is exactly that you mean by shifting the energy? It always fascinated me. I'm just trying to understand.
All of the above. The first thing I had to do is really understand what was going on, what the function was of that department, how I could help them. So she had me sit and observe and watch the interaction that had gone on that whole day. By the time I got out of there, I was a mess. I had no idea. I had no idea. It was like a battleground. And
so you were affected without being part of that organization. You were affected personally because of the energy that was emanated by that room.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So what I came up with, I sort of always take everything in and I process it. And what I decided to do is I focused on the function of this particular department and what was going on there. How did it affect the people? What was needed to improve? So, for example, the paralegals, they were getting battered by all sides. Both lawyers, the head person, everybody was screaming at them. They put in the most hours, actually. So what I did, I focused on the solar plexus, which involves self-esteem, power, energy. And so I did my research on the plants that would help open that up, improve that.
All right.
And so what I came up with was a composition that we could pump in the room subliminally on a diffuser using these oil combinations. And so each department I had to focus on what happened and how I could make that better. So the end result, it was about 10 months later, I was called into the office and the shift in energy was so profound. My client decided to challenge me to write a book, which was not on my radar at all, at all.
Because it was very successful. They changed their attitude, the spirit, the energy of their company, and I'm sure increased productivity thanks to your repositioning.
Everything moved a lot smoother. The interaction was less combative. So this guy right here, this was the one that had to do the most work.
What is that?
This is my infamous air repair.
This is air repair. It says essential air repair.
Right.
All right.
So for the front office, when they first come in, they're ready to kill. And we had some issues feng shui-wise in her new office where she was at the very end of a very long hallway receiving a lot of negative energy coming through the door for starters. Then, of course, the people coming in were on fire with fear and anger and all of that. So what we did biophilia-wise was created, all the art was that of nature, which takes you to primal. And I designed this beautiful water feature to diffuse all that negative energy. You could hear it throughout the entire space.
Water, the sound of water is incredibly powerful.
Yes, it's very nurturing.
Nurturing, all right.
And we had the people stay there for a little while. This guy was being pumped in the room.
How did you pump it in? It's just,
well,
you just
you could
spritz it, or?
You could spritz it. At that time, we were spritzing it. And anyway, the plants that I use in this do a lot of things. So it calms, it clarifies, it grounds, and it makes you feel good with the peppermint.
Let's talk about aromatherapy. It's been around for 6,000 years.
Right.
The Greeks, Chinese, I mean, it's been around forever. It wasn't until the 1900s, though, I think, that the word actually, aromatherapy, was used.
Right.
And ever since then, there's been this effort to try to make a scientific connection between aromatherapy and the actual result of cause and effect, if you will. And the science is still a little bit murky about that. It's not definitive, but it works.
Yes,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
it does work.
Why do you think it works?
Well, I feel that the higher power, God, whatever, put these plants here on Earth to help us. They are our medicine, and it's the precursor to modern medicine.
Sure.
Now, case in point, in my short span, I have got doctors that are using this spray for Alzheimer's patients. I've got a school in North Scottsdale that have it in all their classrooms working with ADD children, and it's working. I've got legions of fans across the country, body people, yoga people, that are affected by this in a positive way. So
The power of smell, the ability for us to capture that or to remember our past happy times or bad times, we associate with the olfactory
exactly.
sense,
It
because it goes to our limbic
It
part of
does,
our brain,
right, and triggers emotion.
and it triggers the emotion, and it makes us remember,
Exactly.
much like music.
Right.
It's very
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 good.
powerful.
That's good. It's all having to do with notes. All these plants have notes. So,
Explain that.
well, each plant has a vibration, a note, if you will. It's
Right.
been broken down. There as top notes, middle note, bass note. So what makes my compositions a little bit different is I actually meditated on these blends. I know this sounds weird, but since I was a kid, I would get a jolt, and that was my sign that I had to pay attention. So my grandmother used to call me the estrega, which means little witch.
Sure.
Um,
You get a jolt in it.
it always comes out my left, me right here.
every time some event happened, that
it's-
something triggered.
Yeah, if something
Okay.
something I needed to pay attention to.
And you got a jolt
Oh
immediately.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As a kid, I didn't know any better. I'd blurt stuff out and freak everybody out because it would come true. And as an adult, I just learned to pay attention to it and process it, and then follow my heart.
Here's the cool thing about what you do, though, is that aromatherapy, again, as we know it, has been around since 1900. But prior to that, for thousands of years, somebody's already figured it out. Somebody already figured that, hey, look, this smells. They may be used to cure something or to aid in the relaxation, etc., etc. And here we have really a vast array of products. Now, you created this combinations, as you call it. And when I hear you speak about these things, I can hear a little bit of music, like you were saying, behind what you're talking about.
Right. Right.
It's interesting. It's not weird. It truly, I can see that.
I did a couple years ago. I was invited to do an international astrology convention, and these people were from all over the world, and they were going through the oils, and they were looking up at me, thinking, "You have done this before, you know." And I said, "Really? Okay, yeah." So I don't know. Once I opened the door to this, I went underground. I may have had 4 hours of sleep a night when I was putting this whole project together.
When, as an entrepreneur, let me bring you to kind of why we do the show. As an entrepreneur, you face challenges. This is your product, and we've talked about the why you're doing this thing and how you found this particular product to be very beneficial and impacting to a lot of people. As an entrepreneur, what is your biggest challenge in marketing this product?
This particular collection is very specific, and in the beginning, it taught me a lot about what people were looking for.
And this collection is called
The
what?
chakra collection.
The what?
Chakra.
Chakra collection. All right.
That's your energy center that we all have
All right.
in our bodies. So these oils are designed to open and heal those centers.
All right.
For example, this special needs school, I work with the moms to teach them how to use this with their kids, and because the kids are all up in their head, I had them focus on the root chakra, to keep them grounded. So what I had them do is put the oil on the base of their spine, the bottoms of their feet before they left school. And within probably, I think it was less than 2 weeks, the kids had completely...
I gotta ask you this. Do you have them turn off their cell phones?
Yeah, well, yeah. But what was so interesting, within these 2 weeks, all the mothers called the director of the school and insisted that this air repair be in every classroom and that the oil was available if they got out of hand. That's all.
That is
it was just, and that's what keeps me going. It's those stories that I get from people. That's
and the teachers, they didn't know what was happening. They didn't know. All right, so because I was going to ask you, could it be maybe psychosomatic at some point? I mean, do you believe that by spritzing this around this office that my attitude is going to change? Maybe I convince myself that it's going to change.
There could be part of that. I mean, that's the power of suggestion. But there's also these particular, like we were talking about, it does affect your energy centers. And whether you understand it or believe it or not, it's doing its magic.
I have found that, when you light a candle, when you have, something, when you hear water, when you have all those sounds and the smells and everything else, it does have a calming effect. It does have a very direct effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, you've got other products as well, right?
I do. What happened when this first year taught me a lot, I listened to people, and what I discovered was, speaking of essences, there are probably 4 different types of people. There's citrus people.
Yes.
There's floral people, woods people, and what I call airy-fairy people, that sort of spicy or perfumey. Okay.
Do you when you see someone, you're like, that's a woodsy people.
That's a fairy. I let them. They will gravitate, and they'll show me. They'll actually show me what they're interested in. So the next collection I decided to do. I donate every year to certain charities, and I wanted to expand the line. And this is very targeted to like yoga, mentality,
right,
etc. So I wanted to broad base it a little bit and use the information that I got. So I call it my Good Karma collection. And each season I create 6 essences and I devote 10% of sales to a different charity.
Phenomenal.
And it's just been amazing. So within those 6 compositions, there are the woods, the citrus, the floral, and airy-fairy. And in these last couple of years, I've got legions of fans that are waiting for this particular season because they like these particular essences. So that was the second collection I started.
Well, that's cool. So what kind of people do you think I am? Am I a woodsy? Am I the floral? Am I the airy-fairy?
I'd have to see what you respond to,
We're going to have to leave that with a cliffhanger, and that is going to be for another episode. And we're going to have to bring you back. By the way, I got to commend you on this setup, because it's kind of the most beautiful setup we've ever had in Entrepreneurs in Fuego, and this is nearly 400 interviews. This is amazing, right, Tate?
Thank you.
Is the best thing.
Thank you.
You know what? The other thing that I got to say this as a postscript, because sitting here with you, you inspire tranquility. There's a calmness about you that I think it comes just from experience and from being able to just believe in your product. And that is very infectious, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Nicola, and I wanted to say your last name in Italian, like Cappele, but you corrected me. You said, no, it's only Cappele.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, I appreciate you coming around. And this is a beautiful thing. And maybe we'll spritz a couple of things around here so we can,
there you go.
We can get rid of the
bad juju.
Oh, the bad juju. And the good juju stays here.
That's right.
With that, we're out.